Oh shoot! Hey guys, I'm going through with a replay rather, that was sent to me by InsiDS over on the Edison Discord. I've known him for a while now, but we used to be real big into the GOAT format community together. But he's kind of made his way over towards trying out some Edison stuff, maybe trying out a little bit new flavor of some retro format Yu-Gi-Oh, and he's actually gone towards fairies as the first deck that he's tried to build. I think he actually might have built in real life and certainly playing it. So he sent me a couple of replays. I'm only going to go over one replay right now because it's pretty late and it's about all that I have time for. But I'm going to walk through this replay and we will see how this goes out. And I don't know, let's just do play. I don't know his exact build. He might be playing the build that I have played several times. I've made a few changes to it. But let's go ahead and pause. So his opening hand, I don't know what his opponent is playing yet. I've seen none of this video, but his opening hand that is a supremely good hand. You have obviously either one of the recruiters, probably Shining Angel, that instantly turns on Freed just from 2 crashes, which leaves Herald along with Nova Summoner to negate any effect that threatens that Freed, as well as Honest, that no matter what you get, just gets you over everything. So this is, if an untrained eye would look at this hand and say, I don't know if that hand's so good. A trained eye, however, would look at that with their Edison Fairy shotgun gun eye and say, this is the end of the game, just from this hand. So a really good looking hand. Let's go ahead and see how this plays out. Opens and Torrent. So he's not playing my build. He might have used my build as a basis. I don't use Torrent, and I'm already suspecting with this hand, we will see why, that I have chose to play, I guess in this case it'd be Compulse over Torrent. I think Compulse works extremely well with, both the recruiters in terms of playing extremely defensively against certain cards to be able to save your stuff. It's really good if someone targets like a Shining Angel for something, and you can just flip that Compulse and put that boy back in your hand so you avoid Caius to then crash next turn or whatever it might be. Why I enjoy that. But I'm going to assume this Torrent is probably going to hamper his recruiter's ability. And it does. So, I'm looking at this play right away. And it's not the wrong play. It's never a wrong play to set Torrent turn 1. I think you can hold on to the Torrent here. Again, I don't know what his opponent's playing, so maybe it's right to hold on to the Torrent, but I think Torrent puts you in a really strange situation. Setting the Shining Angel, you've already turned off your Honest. You could have summoned the Shining Angel just to keep that Honest threat alive. But at this point, keeping it set, you really... How do I put this? No one's going to be expecting a Shining Angel. Fairies, while being a very known deck, is not a very prominent deck. So you're instantly telling your opponent that you have, I don't know, like a Raikou or probably a Hamster. Most likely one of those two, maybe a Sangan Goblin Zombie set type of stuff. So you're most likely, if I'm playing this and I just see a T set, those are like the 3 to 4 cards that I'm expecting. Shining Angel, maybe a top 10 card, but probably not a super expected card. And as a Fairy player, I'm probably also just never going to set turn 1 Shining Angel because I just don't want to risk losing it to like a Caius. Like here in this situation, he is protected from Caius because of this Herald of Orange Light. I personally don't like it because I don't want to waste a Herald of Orange Light on a Caius this early. So you could have just realistically, I think a better play going turn 1 is just setting Torrent. I think just setting Torrent. This kind of protects you from basically everything big in the format, whether it be, Kokimare Drago, whether it be Lightsworn going in and preventing their mills with a Lila or something like that, or if they're going to summon, I don't know, their own recruiters, or Black Wings with Black Whirlwind, or whatever it might be. Torrent alone being set is really good, and if they just do something like summon Stratos, another extremely common play, well, now there's Stratos that you can crash all your monsters into for only 400. So I think starting on this very first play, looking at this hand, I personally would just go set Torrent and let the opponent build up their field and kind of develop a game state for me. His opponent goes into MST, so questionable whether you want to just blank MST. What if you play someone like Carpath, for example, that loves just holding Trap Dust Shoot until main phase to bait out situations like this? It's, there's a high reward in this situation, I guess, and it really depends to me what their follow-on play is, why you would MST at this point. But you've just lost your MST as a reaction force to basically every other play on the risk against something that could be totally chainable and reactive. What for, legacy of yada. So I'm not here to look at Les Wind Fox. I'm not here to look at Les Wind Fox's play, but that's definitely an interesting Space Typhoon. But it does get a good hit. And he goes into Summon Sirocco, and obviously just gonna swing. Yeah, okay, and what do we search? We go into Warrior Lady. So again, I don't know what InsiDS is playing deck list wise. This is, again, a situation where you can instantly set up your Freed. DD Warrior Lady, a really good play, regardless. I think I would have liked to go into, personally, Shining Angel on the off chance that I can crash into that to get a Warrior Lady. I'd take about, 600 more life points, but Freed is now guaranteed to be alive. And then I can go Warrior Lady Banish. But, this is fine too if you don't see that play. That's personally what I'm looking at. But then, you're risking whatever back rows they might have. And this guy goes and sets 3. So that's definitely interesting. I personally, when I see this situation, and I change my plays, a lot of people will, if I have Heavy Storm, for example, the way Fox over here is playing is he's betting against InsiDS to have Heavy Storm. He's saying you have to have Heavy Storm or I'm going to win this game. I'm not going to look at those back rows yet because I don't want to know how this is going to play out. I already know, looking at this field, exactly how I would play this situation. And again, just having that Shining Angel being able to crash is... I would have still gone in Shining Angel just because it plays around a few things. Most specifically, Icarus attack if you play that Shining Angel correctly. Again, I think this play from turn 1, from my perspective, hasn't been wrong, but it's not the plays that I would have made. But InsiDS draws into Thunder King. And this is, again, an incredible draw, especially with this hand and against fairies. This is... or not fairies, against Blackwings. Thunder King is incredible. Outside of specifically Sirocco, Blackwings are forced to play in multiple cards to out a Thunder King, except for Gale. Gale and Sirocco, I think, are the only two that can straight up out a Thunder King like on their own. Yeah, you have to at some point then start, committing Bottomless, Deep Prison, whatever it is. And cards like those that are going against Thunder King, taking away from your Christias and Nova Summoners or Shining Angels, that's always a winning matchup. So right here, you try to crash Warrior Lady. You attempt to crash Warrior Lady. We'll see where that goes. He summons Thunder King. Misplay. Already a misplay. If you're going to summon Thunder King, there's already... how do I put this? So the only way you're getting over this now is you still have to crash the Warrior Lady for sure. Or you have to use Honest. I think you're just losing resources for no reason. Warrior Lady banishing Sirocco is already great because you're turning off that Vayu play as well. And taking it out of the graveyard for Dark Arm Dragon, for example. So right here, you just swing with Warrior Lady, bait out any back rows you can, or you get that Sirocco for free. If you do get the Sirocco for free, regardless of what happens, I would just follow up with Thunder King. Is my personal play, regardless of what would happen, would be my personal play. But he summoned Thunder King. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Let's see where this leads us. He lets it go. Battle phase. So, again, Warrior Lady banishing Sirocco. Great play. You turn off Vayu. But I guess I can see some merit in this because Warrior Lady is obviously also one of the primary outs to Shura. Shura being, outside of Whirlwind, the quickest way that Blackwings really gain their advantage. But you have so many other ways with this hand to play around Shura. Specifically speaking, a 1900 Thunder King and Honest. So again, I don't like that he played Thunder King here, and I really don't like that you're switching Warrior Lady to defense, because now you have to use Honest, and I think this is a wasted Honest if this attack goes. You don't even attack. Why don't you attack? Why do you summon Thunder King not to attack? I don't know why you summon Thunder King to not attack, because I think at that situation right there, with one card in hand, Warrior Lady attacking, Blackwings are definitely in their most vulnerable position. You're coming away no matter what with at least one card. You're going to get 1-for-1 that Warrior Lady, no matter what. Best case scenario, I would say probably you do get rid of the Sirocco. Second best case scenario, you're getting rid of Mirror Force or Deep Prison. And I don't think there's no losing scenario where you attack with Warrior Lady. You cannot lose. Summoning Thunder King and then just passing, I think is the only situation here specifically where you've lost momentum and you force yourself to use Honest. You've lost like the high ground is the best way that I can put it. with my lack of the English language and knowledge thereof. You've lost the high ground. You have given your opponent every opportunity to basically win this. Well, if he summons like a, if he summons Gale right now, uh, you just you get totally swapped. Gale, negate or half Thunder King, and then you're forced to use Honest out a Gale, which is ridiculous. Um, and then you can still use Soraka to swing over Warrior Lady, which still gets that banish, which you could have done last turn, but then also save your Thunder King. It's yeah, we'll see. I'm interested to see how this plays out. So you get Icarus, another great example that he now has total momentum, and you have Black Kings don't use effect monsters for the most part. And now he has one, not only Soraka and Grave, ready to be used, revitalized, really, through Vayu. You have absolutely no defense the way this is played out. If you would have just gone DD Warrior Lady, swing to banish, that Icarus, completely dead. And that's the big thing. Here's a big key. InsiDS, if you end up watching this, here's a big key against playing Black Wings. And one of the best reasons that Fairies has a really good game one matchup. Because Fairies can play entirely out of the hand. And it's really Fairy strength. They can play entirely out of the hand. Even if you run a heavy trap lineup and your opponent has Decree, you still have the Honest, you still have the Herald, you still have the Christia. If your opponent has Royal Oppression, you still have the Warrior Lady, you still have the Shining Angel, you still have the Thunder King, you still have the Honest, the Herald. Like, right, this hand and this field presence is so good if your opponent has Royal Oppression. It's so good if your opponent has Royal Decree. It's so good if your opponent has literally any card. You just play into them winning. And that's what happens. What looked like is going to happen here. Because now it's 4-4 card advantage after this plays out. You've lost two extremely valuable monsters. I cannot understate the value of Thunder King and DD Warrior Lady in this matchup. They are incredibly good. And then your opponent now has all the momentum too. Oh, there we go. Summon Shura. Otherwise, Shura, it just couldn't get around his field. Although, I will say your Freed is now live. Your Freed is live to get that +1. You're technically up, I'll say half a card because you are drawing. And who went first? InsiDS did go first. And now you're still in a really good situation, even drawing that Warrior Lady. You have a lot of options here. I think here I definitely want to go Freed just to free destroy, banishing. This is tough. I'd probably banish the Warrior Lady and Thunder King just to get that. You have Warrior Lady here. But you do have the Nova Summon. Yeah, I'd probably banish these two just to make your return stronger and keeping that Fairy in the grave in case you get Christia. I don't know what he's going to do. I hope he goes Summon Freed and use Effect. It kind of... and keep Warrior Lady in hand for anything that might happen, a turn or two in the future. He sets it. I'm interested to know... There's no back row that you're afraid of with Freed in this situation. Freed does get priority. He could Solemn, I guess. If you're scared of just a Solemn, potentially, and that puts your opponent really far, but no one's going to Solemn a Freed. I couldn't see that happening. Set Warrior Lady just makes you vulnerable to the next direct attack. Towards Freed, even if they bottomless, you're still getting your +1 from Freed. So I'm interested to know why InsiDS did not take this +1. Because it's completely free. Again, I still don't know the back rows. I don't know what's set. You always assume something like bottomless. If he says 3, you assume Starlight or Solemn. I don't think many players play Starlight, and I hate losing to the random one of Starlight or 2 if they have it. But no one's going to Solemn a Freed. Here you definitely play the Freed. I don't know what he was saving that Freed for, but I guess it ends up working out. But now you're in the same situation where he's just going to be able to... Nothing changed from last turn. He doesn't play a monster. And now I don't like this situation because in order to... You could have had Freed on the field. You could still have Freed on the field, and you'd still have your Warrior Lady if you would have summoned Freed last turn. You'd still be able to make those direct attacks, and you'd have 5 cards in hand. You'd still have your Herald lined up with your Nova Summoner for discard. But now, you're either forced to pass or go Nova Summoner. I would never summon Freed in this situation because you're not gaining anything from it. It's just going to get, I don't know, ran over or something next turn. Or you have Bottomless, and I don't want to set 2 of them because I don't want to lose out to Icarus attack again. So I think just by not summoning Freed last turn, and really just kind of how this has been played from turn 1, a lot of momentum has been lost on InsiDS' side due to that, Freed should still be on the field, and you should have already hit for 3,400. Or at this point, start taking back rows. And then you still have Honest in your hand, so that way if they do attack the Freed with another Sure or whatever, well, that's another 1,700. Because the way this works, last turn he hits for 1,700. Fox doesn't play anything. This turn, just keep Freed, don't play anything, hit for another 1,700. Next turn, if he summons an attack, you can drop Honest, hit for another 1,700. Then on InsiDS' following turn, he's up 3 cards at that point, I think it is. 2 or 3 cards. He can hit with Freed again. So that is, at that point, that'd be 34 plus 34, 64, 6,800 direct damage for no cost, which has, that's basically game at that point. Yeah, this game, I don't like how this has been played, and it's not how I would have played it. And again, InsiDS might still win, so I'm not going to say he played wrong. Especially in fairies, there's so many different ways to make your plays and choose decision trees. But he asked me how I would have played it in of his 3 games, 3 matches, whatever they are, and I'm just this how I. So here, just because I played, I think you're kind of forced just to go Nova Summoner. You have to get offensive sometime. You have to start putting on pressure. You have 2 plays. You can either set Bottomless and just keep, I don't know, fucking defending, or you can summon the Nova Summoner and actually start going on the offensive. Either one of those plays, honestly, not bad. I would keep the Bottomless because you're not risking any of the synchros or anything. He doesn't have anything engraved to go with Blizzard into a level 4. His Shuro's gone, a Sirocco's gone, so, well, 1 Shuro, 1 Sirocco, so I don't presume he's going to be summoning either of those. I don't think you're going to get much value next turn out of the Bottomless, so this turn, I just summon the Nova Summoner and swing. Let's see what he does. He sets it. What? I don't know. I could only guess that you're scared of D-Prison or Mirror Force, again, and you shouldn't be, because, again, that early Shining Angel, I don't think was played very correctly. You should have got more searches out of that Shining Angel to allow you to play a little bit more wildly with this Nova Summoner. I think if you're just going to set and pass, you can set Honest. Or you just set Bottomless and wait for them to do something. And then still try to get Freed advantage over the next turn or 2. Setting Nova Summoner, especially game 1, not very good because they're still going to get their plus off Ashura if they summon it. And you set Bottomless. Again, when you're playing against Blackwing, is this for all decks, not just all decks, multiple decks, every deck. This situation right here, you're playing into making their trap card, their most powerful trap card, an Icarus, which is the most powerful disruption in the format. You're making it better, and he's killing your last recruiter because of it. When you're down to 1 recruiter as a fairy player, you have to be so careful, and that's why I like 6 of recruiters. When you're at 1, you have to be crazy careful with how you play this thing. It is. At this point, this Nova Summoner is InsiDS' lifeline to the rest of his deck. It just is. His hand, this is at what has started off with an incredible opening hand and like opening 7 or 8 cards, has now been depleted into Honest is good, Herald's good, but you can only use one or the other. Freed it's okay in this situation, but you kind of really, in my opinion, passed up your opportunity to get the most value out of Freed. So you've kind of, InsiDS has depleted his own resources, and he's not gotten any pluses out of it. Going into, they just pass. They just pass. When are we? I don't know. I'd have to wonder when are you gonna. So you get offensive now. So we've already talked about how he's passed up at least 6,800 points of damage with the Freed. Last turn he passed up 1,400 just to flip it up this turn to attack. What were you scared of last turn that you're not scared of this turn when your hand situation hasn't changed at all? You could have heavy stormed if you didn't set Bottomless last turn. Again, I don't think that Bottomless set last turn was a good idea. And then you drew into heavy storm, which now your hand is just, nothing's looking good here. I don't think he's in a bad situation, but he's in a much weaker situation than he should be. I think Fairies and InsiDS' opening hand should have been able to easily take control of this. Let me read Freed. Freed has to be higher attack. Here, you Bottomless. I would Bottomless every time. And he does. Okay. Book of Moon. Perfect. So you finally got your first +1. That next turn, I'd probably summon Honest and swing next turn. Try to hit over that is going to be my play. If he sets a back row, I'm heavy storming. If he doesn't, either way, even better. I'm going Dimensional Alchemist, no priority, then using its effect in case that's Torrent and swinging. Let's see. They don't discuss that. I will say you definitely want to call no priority because if they do have Torrent, and you call priority, you don't get that Dimension Alchemist return because it torrent interferes with his effect. Um, so you definitely want to be clear with that if you're ever doing that in the future. But he hits another Nova Summoner, which is really, really good in this situation. I'd grab back either of those to also turn on the Herald. He swings. There it is. And just like that, he's now 2 cards ahead of the Blackwing deck. And we already know, if you're Book of Mooning a Bora, your hand is weak. You got a bad hand. This Fox has nothing going on, so I don't see a way InsiDS loses. Just from what's looking at right now, I can't see InsiDS losing. Yep, so he dies. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Get back that Nova. Take the 100, get back a Nova. Perfect. And then you got Heavy Storm and Crash. Heavy Storm, Crash. Heavy Storm, Crash. This game shall already be put away. Perfect. So he's down to 4,000, and you were up like 20 cards. Nova Summoner, Crash. Interesting situation. I think right here, just to keep up the opportunity, the card advantage opportunity, going into, was that 1, 2, 3? Yeah, go into another Dimensional Alchemist, which is also your 4th fairy, you know, if you top Christie anytime soon. Or you could realistically go in Shining Angel. Shining Angel or Dimensional Alchemist, either one of those good. We know at this point his back row is not a battle trap, so it's probably just like a D Prison, or it's not a Book of Moon. It's got to be like a D Prison or just some kind of bluff, maybe a Dust Tornado or something like that. Maybe another Icarus. If you think it's Icarus, which even then, at the end of this turn, InsiDS, please tell me you don't set D Prison. Do not set D Prison. You have Honest and Herald in hand. But either Nova Summoner or Dimensional Alchemist, either one really good in this situation. Or Shining Angel, I guess, by extension. I personally would go into Dimensional Alchemist. What are we doing? Gosh, you can't get that. That was Nova Summoner, but he got it. Oh, okay, perfect. InsiDS is pretty new to the deck, so I think this might be like the first week that he's played, and Nova Summoner is a card people don't see. So he does get the Alchemist, and he does get that 13. That should be game within the next turn. He does use a main phase 2. Ouch. Ouch. That brain control would have been really good with that Herald. And he sets it. We've already learned. Do not. You have Honest and you have Herald. If this player, Fox, draws into something that turns on a potential set Icarus attack, both of those cards lose their value. So it was Dust Tornado. Okay. Either way. InsiDS, I hope, has won this game. Unless Dark Arm, there it is. But you got the Herald. So let's see how this gets played out. Oh, no way. No way his other card. No way. So what do we do here? Yeah, you still win. So I already know where this is going. He's gonna sink probably into, I assume. I personally would go into Blackwing Armed Wing. Nope. Oh, don't do that. No, no, no. You let all these attacks go through. You have plenty of life. You're gonna go Dimensional Alchemist, grab back literally, probably Warrior Lady. Could grab Nova Summoner. Probably Nova Summoner. So bad play here. You let this die at some point this turn, grab back Nova Summoner. Next turn, freed, use effect, destroy something, freed, attack, use Honest to get over with. And you have a Nova Summoner and the Herald of Orange Light remaining in hand. Plus whatever it is that you draw, and he has literally nothing with 1,000 life points. So that was not a good play. I do not like that play at all. I do not like that play. It's not awkward. Use the effect. Why would... What? What? Why don't you... What are you scared of? One of these two? You're at 27. He's going to get it anyways. No matter what happens, he's going to... Honestly, I would probably just summon Herald in Synchro just for the BM. Just for the bad manners. But no, just summon Freed. Just summon Freed. What are you doing? Okay. I thought, I was getting worried that he wasn't going to just summon Freed. Also, he did end up winning. Like I said, that game 1 was an extremely powerful hand by InsiDS. It was very good. Some plays, like, I won't call them misplays, but I will call them plays that I wouldn't make the whole way through. So, very good game from InsiDS. Glad to see it. And I have a few more coming, but for tonight, that was all the time that I had to review.